Good evening, everyone. So, this session tonight is not about any revision or practice questions. In this session tonight, we are here to discuss a paper. So, which paper? Yesterday, there was an exam. It was the exam of Kerala HSST PSC exam. And the paper is already with us. And many of you have done really well. I know many of you will crack the exam with flying colors. But before that, we have to discuss this paper, analyze this paper once, and see which questions we can challenge. Right. So with that being said, let's get started with our session tonight. I will share my screen with you so that you all can see the question paper and the options, and then you can decide for yourself as well. Right. So here we go. Let me share my screen so that you all can see the question paper and everything. Okay, here we go. I believe the screen is visible to you all and you can see the question paper, right? Yes. So in this paper, there were around 70 questions from the literature portion, literature, linguistics and all. So let's get started, shall we? Right, very good. So here we can see the first question. Let's get started with the answers now, shall we? Yes, good evening and welcome. Chalo. So question number 1. What does the poet discern in the 4th stanza of canonization? The first question is from John Donne's poem Canonization. And you can see it's a textual question, a question directly from the 4th stanza. What does the poet see or discern in the 4th stanza of this poem? So according to the provisional answer key and according to our team, we both agree that the answer here would be B, possibilities of making their love immortal. In the 4th stanza of this poem, the speaker is looking for possibilities of making their love immortal. I hope all of you have both the question paper and the provisional answer key with you all. And based on the answer key, we have checked how many questions are correct and how many can be challenged. All right, so 1 will be B, that's correct. Next, we have question number 2. Whom does Satan trick by disguising himself as a cherub? It will be Uriel. It will be Uriel. Okay, so whom does Satan trick by disguising himself as a cherub? It is Uriel. Uriel is correct. Uriel. Okay, right. Next, question number 3. Whom does the owl complain to when its sleep is disturbed by the wanderers? It will be the moon. The moon is correct. Question number 4. How does Dr. Faustus disrupt the Pope's banquet? So it's a question from the tragedy, Dr. Faustus of Marlowe. In this tragedy, we see Dr. Faustus disrupts the banquet of the Pope. How does he disrupt this banquet? By stealing food and boxing the Pope's ears. Option A is correct. Okay, option A is correct, by stealing food and boxing the Pope's ears. In Mac Flecknoe, Dryden describes the streets as filled with the limbs of other poets. What does it mean? What does it suggest? There's limbs scattered everywhere. It will be D, 5D. Shadwell managed to get a hold on his position at the expense of talented writers. So 5D is correct. Question 6. Which of the statement about the knight is not true? D. The knight quarrels with the pardoner. That's absolutely wrong. It was not the knight who quarreled with the pardoner. It was the host, right? Host of the tabard in Harry Bailey who quarreled with the pardoner. So option D is the answer. This is not true about the knight. Option D is the answer. Next, we have question 7. Which one among the following is not a hyperbole used in Andrew Marvell's To His Coy Mistress? It is option B. In this poem or throughout the poem, he has never mentioned anything like spending years in the heaven with the beloved. There's nothing like that. So option B would be the answer. Okay, 7B. 7 here, B. Okay, now we come to question number 8. Sir Oliver Surface has arrived back in England after 16 years spent in A, East Indies. A, East Indies. Which of the statement is not true about Tom Jones? Not true. This one. C. Tom does not adhere to the principles of gallantry. Wrong. Tom very actively adheres to the principles of gallantry throughout the novel. Tom very actively adheres to the principle of gallantry. So option C is the answer because that's not true about Tom Jones. Okay. Next, we have a question from Spencer's Epithalamion. In Epithalamion, the nymphs prepare the garland with B, lilies and roses. Lilies and roses. Which of the statements is or are true in Ode, Intimations of Immortality? 11C is correct. Both 2 and 3 are true. In the second stanza, the poet sees the rainbow and that the rose is still lovely. And in the fifth stanza, the poet proclaims that human life is merely a sleep and a forgetting. So 11C is correct. Both 2 and 3 are true. Next, which of the statements is or are true about the west wind? 12B is correct. Only 1 and 3 are true. Only 1, that it woke the Mediterranean from its summer dreams, and the west wind can send the clouds twirling. 1 and 3 are true. Again, a very easy question. It's from the essay Dream Children by Charles Lamb, right? In Dream Children, the grandmother, Mrs. Field, who used to live in Norfolk, 13D, 13D. Again, a very straightforward textual question, very easy. So, Norfolk, 13D. Next. Which statements is or are true about Jack Worthing? Jack Worthing. B is correct. Both 1 and 2 are true. 1 and 2 are true. Okay. Next we have, and in Andrea del Certo, the speaker begins his long speech. How? How does he begin his long speech? 15 would be C. By describing the passage of time and the lack of control he feels he had over his life. 15C is correct. Next, which among the following cannot be described, cannot be considered as a guideline for poetry mentioned in the preface to lyrical ballads? 16D. Expression of feeling is less important than action or plot. Never. Romanticism would never say feeling is less important. No, absolutely not. So, which among the following cannot be considered? This D. Because a romantic like Wordsworth would never say feeling is less important. No. So, 16D. Okay. Right. After the death of Catherine, so it's a question from Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. After the death of Catherine, what does Nellie put in her locket? 17C. Locks of Edgar and Heathcliff. Okay, locks of Edgar and Heathcliff. Now we have a question from Tess of the Ubervilles. Which statements is or are true in the life of Tess of the Ubervilles? 18D. All are true. Tess chastises herself for a weakness after her sexual escapade with Alec. She's hard on herself for letting herself become a victim. She's responsible for the death of the family horse Prince. All are true. 18D. Okay. Next we have 19. Which statements is or are true about Oliver Twist, the character of Oliver Twist of Dickens? 19. 19 would be A. 1 and 3. Oliver is shocked and horrified when he sees the Dodger and Bates pick a stranger's pocket. And 3. Oliver's moral scruples about the sanctity of property seem inborn in him. So 1 and 3 are true. Option A. 19A. 20. Where does Sir Thomas own a plantation in Mansfield Park? Very easy question. Sir Thomas owns a plantation in Antigua. 20B. Antigua. What does the phrase spiritus mundi mean? It means spirit of the world. 21B. It means spirit of the world. Okay. Again, a very easy and direct question from the Westland. Who is throbbing between two lives? Tiresias, the blind prophet. Tiresias, 22A. 22A. Who is referred in the phrase, the parish of rich women? It is Lady Gregory, 23D. And it's a phrase from W.H. Audens in memory of W.H. Audens in memory of W.B. Yeats. This phrase is from the elegy. Which one? W.H. Audens in memory of W.B. Yeats. And here the parish of rich women, it refers to Lady Gregory, 23D. Okay. What is the figure of speech in birds of winged trees? It is B, transferred epithet, winged trees, so transferred epithet. What is the philosophy suggested in the line much that is natural to the will must yield? It is existentialism. Existentialism. Okay. Now this question ka answer should be challenged. The answer of this question should be challenged, right? According to F.R. Lewis, all the novelists in the great tradition are concerned with dash. I think your provisional answer key says it is option C, formal perfection. But if you have gone through this work, it cannot be formal perfection. So the correct answer can be B, thematic consistency. This is what we and our team came up with after a bit of research and looking at the primary text and all. So we think it should be option B, thematic consistency. Because if you look at the primary work, you will see F.R. Lewis emphasizes the idea of moral seriousness and human experiences in the great tradition. It's never about formal perfection. But your provisional answer key says option C for question 26. So this question answer can be challenged. This is what at least we thought, that this can be challenged. Question 26. Please note it down and look it up yourself as well. So we think it should be option B and not C. Do you all agree? Let me just see the chat box for a second so that I can see what you all are saying. Yes. Okay. So I think 26 will be C. What was the childhood passion of Marlowe in the Heart of Darkness? Searching maps for blank spots, 27A. 27A. Searching maps for blank spots. What was Stephen punished for by his instructor? For breaking his glasses, 28B. In the novel 1984, what happens to the old editions of the Times after being revised? Burned in a furnace. Burnt in a furnace, 29C. Who says I prefer men to cauliflowers in the novel Mrs. Dalloway? Peter Walsh, B. Peter Walsh. According to Tagore, how does mother's bondage affect the child? 31D, it keeps the child away from free play. Which animal is symbolically used repeatedly in the poems, namely my grandmother's house and freaks? 32B, snake, snake. In background casually, who were the three companions of the poet at the basement? 33B, philosophy, poverty, and poetry. Philosophy, poverty, and poetry. Okay. What is the figure of speech in a landslide of lights? A, metaphor. A, metaphor. Which root did Purudava give her husband? B, the middle-sized one. What is the language in which the play Silence the Court is in Session originally written? Very easy, it is Marathi. C, Marathi. What is the common factor in the attitude of Chota, Bakha, and Ramcharan? Their attitude towards English lifestyle. A. 37A. Who is the character created by R.K. Narayan who is afraid of opening a registered letter? 38. It is Govind Singh who is afraid of opening a registered letter. It's a character of R.K. Narayan. Now we have a question from The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. In which district the place Ayamanem is set? Ayamanem is the setting, right? So this setting is in which place? Ayamanem is in Kottayam. 39B. Kottayam is correct. Kottayam. Okay. What is the most powerful sense of the character of Salim Sinai? Salim Sinai is one of the protagonists in Midnight's Children by Salman Rushdie. And as a midnight child, he has a special power, a special sense. What is that? It is the sense of smell, olfaction. So 40D, olfaction means sense of smell of Salim Sinai. Okay, right, next. This is a question which we have discussed in our sessions hundreds and thousands of times. Which essay of Edgar Allan Poe describes the making of the Raven? The Raven is a poem by Edgar Allan Poe. And in one of his critical essays, Poe has elaborated his process of composition of this poem. Which critical essay is it? It is The Philosophy of Composition, 41B, The Philosophy of Composition. All right. Great. Now we come to question 42. This is a question which does not even have the right options, we think. Every time we searched for the correct answer, Google and everything, article, essays, we were getting at least 10, 20 different answers. So I think this is a question which you all can look it up further and challenge. Because your provisional answer key has said it will be option C, Gary Schmidgall. But that is not really the correct answer, right? So please check it up further, look it up, and you can challenge this. Okay, because it was not Gary Schmidgall, as you all have understood by now. So please, you can look it up further and challenge question 42 as well. And previously, we also discussed how you can challenge question 26 answers. Okay, right. Now, this is a question from the poem Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. Men swarm around the phenomenal woman like dash. A very easy, straightforward textual question from the poem itself. It is a hive of honeybees, 43A, a hive of honeybees. Now we have a question from Emily Dickinson's. I felt a funeral in my brain, the poet hears mourners treating with Boots of lead. Again, very easy, straight question from the text itself. The poet hears mourners treading with boots of lead. C is correct. Now 45. Choose the correct chronological sequence of Brutus Jones's hallucinations. Here also, I will tell you how the answer in the provisional answer key is wrong. When our team was looking at this, we came up with what should be the correct answer. Okay, and let me tell you all. Wait, just a second. Yes. Yes, correct. Many of you have already talked about this. So in question 45, the order is, the correct order should be 3, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. 3, 1, 2, 4, 5, then 6. And this order has not been given in the options. They have given 3, 1, 2, 5, 4, 6. That's not correct. It should be 3, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. The answer key has said it is D, but it is wrong. We searched the text, we did our research, and we think it's wrong. So please, you also look it up again and let us know in the comment section if you also think the same. Okay, so 26, 42, 45. These are the three questions that can be challenged. Okay, right. So that being said, let us move on to the other questions. Yes. Next we have this one. A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, adored by little statesmen and philosophers and divines. Who said this? It was said by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Ralph Waldo Emerson, correct, yes. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Okay. Choose the flaw or flaws of Morin Pill found out by Claudia and Frieda. This is question number 47. Yes, and what would be the correct answer here? Yes. 47 ka answer would be, yes, correct. It is D, 1 and 2. A dog tooth and little bump on each of her hands due to the removal of the extra fingers. Yes, correct. 48. Aristotle considers dash as the least artistic form of discovery. It would be A, discovery by signs or tokens. Who is the defender of Constitution criticized in Civil Disobedience by Henry David Thoreau? It is 49D, Daniel Webster. Daniel Webster. 50, Melville's approach to cannibalism and his characterization of Queequeg rely upon what? It is 50A, Mountains of Cannibals. Mountains of Cannibals. Now we have a question from what? Laura Mulvey's Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema. So it's a question from your cultural studies. Fetishistic scopophilia. What does it do? What does it do? 51. It will be option C. 1 and 4 are correct. It builds up the physical beauty of the object, transforming it into something satisfying, and it can exist outside linear time. 1 and 4 are correct. Did I say yes? C. 51C. Okay, next we have The Old Man and the Sea. Santiago had gone 84 days without taking a fish. 84 days, 52D. Poet is the monarch of all sciences. Who said this? Easy question. It is Sir Philip Sidney. So it's a work of criticism which you studied, right? It's from Apology for Poetry. Poet is the monarch of all sciences, asserted by Sir Philip Sidney. Next, who among the following is not read in Epistemology of the Closet by Eve Kosofsky-Sedgwick? It is Mark Twain. 54D, Mark Twain. Next, In tradition and the individual talent, T.S. Eliot compares the poet's mind to a receptacle. To a receptacle. Option C is correct. Okay, 56. According to Northrop Frye, tragedy is aligned or it is compared to which season? Compared to which season? It is autumn. Tragedy is linked to autumn, right? The traditional model of mass communication is criticized for its dash. For its, it is D, all of these. Linearity, concentration on the level of message exchange, and absence of a structured conception of the different moments as a complex structure of relation. 57D is correct, all of these. Next, we have a question from Angela McRoby, which is not true here. Not true. 58C is not true. That postmodernism doesn't demand a multiplicity. Very wrong. Postmodernism in itself is a lens which demands multiplicities, pluralities. So, very easy question. It is 58C. C is the answer. Who wrote Culture Industry Reconsidered? Again, very easy question, right? It is Adorno. Adorno wrote Culture Industry Reconsidered. Again, very, very simple question it is. Butler's Gender Trouble, Feminism and the Subversion of Identity was published in 1990. B is correct. 1990. 61 in revised taxonomy, dash types of knowledge involved in cognition. It is D. 2. Sorry, 61B. 4. 4 types of knowledge involved in cognition. 4 types of knowledge. Which among the following does not belong to the 4 elementary functions as proposed by Vygotsky as the innate abilities of an individual? 62. D. Imagination is not there. Imagination is not there. 63. The inquiry model of teaching was proposed by whom? 63A. Robert Suckman. Robert Suckman. 64. The research carried out by a school personnel to improve the school practices concerning school issues is known as what? 64D. Action research. Action research. Dash bridges the gap between micro-teaching and micro-teaching. Okay. 65, it is B, link practice. B, link practice. The term behaviorism was coined by A, John Watson. John Watson. Dash is the backward movement of eyes while reading for the words or phrases already read. 67. 67 would be C, regression. Regression. Dash is a metaphor coined by Krashen to describe a learner's attitude that can affect second language acquisition. 68C, affective filter. Affective filter. Here 69, the audiolingual method focuses on oral skills. Oral skills, B. An example of a non-projected aid is, it will be D, blackboard. 70D, blackboard. Okay, so I have already told you which questions you can challenge. 26, 42, and 45. Okay, 26, 42, and 45. And now our Jobin sir is here and he will continue from 71 question onwards. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, I'm done. I will make you the host.
Yeah. Yes, so hello everyone, hello YouTube babies and all our students. And no, the Kerala PSC HSST exam was over on 29th, and we had the course. We had the full course for HSST and also the crash course. And we are here to discuss with the question paper of Kerala PSC HSST English. And till 70, actually, it is a subject part related question. And myself and Sharon is here to discuss the questions from 71, that is general part. We were the faculties that we are handling the general part for the HSST. Actually, the teaching and research part was taken by me, and the general part like constitution and also the other ideas like the social welfare, all things were taken by Sharon. So can we move on to the questions like the 71st question is the dash method assumes that general statements are better generated from specific observations. Actually, you cannot say that it is bit little bit confusing one, but when you read the questions 2 or 3 times, you'll get the idea. See, that means general statements, general from specific observations to general. So from specifics to general, it will be obviously inductive. So 71A is the answer. 71A is the answer. That is inductive is the answer. Okay. And now coming to the next one, what we have is 72, a question answer session after a class is example of dash evaluation. So obviously it is not a summative evaluation. 72B will be the right answer. That is formative evaluation, not a process evaluation or outcome. You don't have something like process evaluation or outcome evaluation, something like that. And TOEFL and IELTS, as we have heard, these are the some test or maybe like evaluation strategies that you have. And actually, it is not, maybe like we cannot tell that it is productive test. It can be, we can have options like progressive, not projective, and also proficiency. Actually, when you think of, it is actually a criterion based evaluation, Okay. So that is why then you can say 73 proficiency is a proficiency test. Okay. 73 can tell like it is D. D is the option. That's a option given in the correct professional answer key also. That's correct. Very easy direct question next 74. Very easy. We have discussed many times this in the class and these learning disabilities and all. A disorder that includes difficulty in staying focused and paying attention is called ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Dysgraphia is the one that is associated with the reading, writing. Dyspraxia is with the movements. Dyslexia is with the reading, writing. It's actually what is the disabilities. So attention, difficulty in paying attention is actually ADHD. Okay, that's the correct answer given. 74A. 75, which of the following is not an attribute of a visual learner? By reading the options, just you can easily. Concentration, good speller, facial expressions. Obviously, visual learner, you have 75D is the given answer. Visual learner. Bad handwriting is given as the answer. Okay. Visual learner, not an attribute, Okay. So how to find out the most appropriate sources of variable to a research problem? So how will you select variables? That means we have studied in research aptitude, the first thing to, the first step in a research is actually identifying a research problem. So we need to get variables. So how you will get variables, how you will get study variables, the sources of study variable. So basically you can have from formal research studies, you can have from personal experience, you can have from through seminars, compendium and all. Not from the abstract knowledge sources you cannot. So only 1, 3 and 4 will be the right answer. 76D will be the right answer. Find out the nature of a research methodology, which is the type of research it is. The topic is also given, contribution of Rabindranath Tagore in the field of rural education. It is not actually a correlation research, because correlation means there should be a relation stated with two variables. It is not. It is not experimental, because it is not telling a first group manipulated with there is no manipulation in the variables done. It's not ethnographic also, because it's not actually studying about any specific culture or something like that. So obviously 77 will be B. It's a historical research. Okay. Contribution already done. So it's a historical research. Read the following statements related to hypothesis. So it is told that hypothesis and objective. It's not completely correct, maybe a partially correct one. You can have a doubt that one is correct, but no. When you go to the option, go to the next one, a hypothesis and objective into a testable fashion. Yeah, that is right. That is more right. So then you don't want to go with one. If it is like 1, 2, and the next one, when I will say is 4 is correct. So if 1, 2, 4 is there, that will be a correct option. But 1, 2, 4 is not there. Only 2 and 4 is there. So that will be the correct option. So that is the answer given in the professional answer key also. It is not a conclusion of research program. That is wrong. And hypothesis and objective, is somewhat a partial correct one. You cannot go with, because when you look into the option, only one is correct, you cannot go, because there are 2 and 4 correct. So if it was 1, 2 and 4, you can definitely go with that option, but here are only 2 and 4. So D will be the option, 78D. Proper research citations help a researcher to dash. Write a research report, to prepare a research citation, to give credibility. Obviously, to give credibility is there because proper research citations. And by giving research citations, you can avoid plagiarism also. So 79C, that is the correct answer given in the answer key also, 3 and 4. Read carefully the basic principle of a research program given below and identify the method of research. Method of research, you need to maximize the treatment variance and minimize the error variance under a controlled condition. So obviously, at maybe like it is, if it is a controlled condition. Okay. So whenever there is a controlled condition that you have, see this controlled, we are controlling the independent variable, right? I have when I've discussed in the classes and revisions and all, it is actually where the controlling one is actually the independent variable, the variable which we are manipulating. So we are manipulating the independent variable. So the manipulation of independent variable is happening in experimental research. That is the keyword there. Okay, all those things, when you read maximize the treatment variance and minimize all, you'll get confused. See, under a controlled condition is actually what you manipulate the variable, right? That is what is the idea is. So it is only experimental. You cannot have a survey, ex post facto. Historical won't be there. So directly you can eliminate C and B. And normative survey method won't be controlled condition because it's survey method. No manipulation is there. So as there should be manipulation, experimental research is the correct option. Okay, that is the correct option. Only 3 is correct. That is the one. Okay, experimental research. Now, yes, handing over to Sharon. Can you just start with question number 81? I think you are. Please unmute. Can you please unmute, Sharon?
Okay. So, question number 81. The tenure of UPSC members are, the correct option is option C, 6 years. The tenure of UPSC members are 6 years and 65 years, so up to 65 years of age. So, according to the option is correct option is option C, 6 years. Okay. The next question. The Environmental Protection Act of 1986 was enacted after option B, Bhopal gas tragedy that happened in 1984. So after that Bhopal gas tragedy, the Environmental Protection Act of 1986 happened. Okay. And the 83rd question, Model Code of Conduct is enforced by option C, Election Commission. Okay. Model Code of Conduct is enforced by Election Commission. And the 84th question. So for the Constituent Assembly, who was the chairman of the steering committee? Actually, there is no option. Correct option is there. The PSC has given option as C in their professional answer key. But you can challenge that question because the answer for this question is Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Okay. So the question has no correct answer from this option. Okay. And next one, 85th question. The erosion of state autonomy can be observed in which of the following spheres? Okay. So all these 3 options, president's rule, appointment of governors, president's assent to the state bill, all these 3 options are correct. So the answer is option D, all of the above. Okay. The answer for the 85th question is all of the above, option D. And 86th question, right to property has been eliminated from the fundamental rights by. Most discussed question in our class. 86th question is answer option B, 44th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1978. Okay. And 87th question, which of the following cases is popularly known as Mandal Commission case? Answer is option A, Indira Soni versus Union of India, 1992. Okay. And the next question, 88th question. And dash is a quasi-judicial procedure in Parliament. The answer is option C, impeachment. Impeachment procedure is a quasi-judicial procedure because it is done in both in legislative and legislative sector and judiciary. Okay, so that's why it is known as a quasi-judicial procedure. Okay, And the 89th question, every proclamation issued under Article 352 is to be laid before. The correct answer is option B, each House of Parliament. So it's also a very much discussed question. Article 352 points to national emergency. So national emergency can be issued in each house, any house of the parliament. So the answer, correct answer is option B, each house of parliament. Okay. And the 90th question, the functioning of parliament every day normally begins with. Correct answer is option B, question hour. So that normally happens from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. in parliament. Okay, that's the correct answer. The 91st question, the book Jadi Mimamsa, which criticizes the caste system, was written by the most discussed question again. Option C, Sri Narayana Guru. Sri Narayana Guru wrote the book Jadi Mimamsa. The 92nd question, which among the following is wrong about the abstention movement that happened in 1931? The wrong option is, that means the correct option is organized by the Communist Party. Actually, it is a wrong statement related to this abstention movement. So the answer for that question, 92nd question, is organized by the Communist Party. Okay, the 93rd question, Vartamana Pustakam, the first travelogue in Malayalam, was written by option D, Paramikal Thoma Kattanar. Vartamana Pustakam is written by, that's the first travelogue in Malayalam, written by Paramikal Thoma Kattanar. So 94th question, the Kerala Grandashala Sangam was found in the year, option B, 1945, which was founded by P.N. Panikkar, who is known as the father of Kerala library movement. Okay, and the 95th question, arranged chronologically based on the sequence of years in which the events took place. So the statement options are Kallumala Samaram, Valinadakal Samaram, Villuvandi Samaram, Vaikam Satyagraha. So the correct option for this question is option C, 3, 1, 4, and 2. 3. Villuvandi Samaram happened in 1893, and Kallumala Samaram happened in 1915. Vaikam Satyagraha happened in 1924, and Valinadakal Samaram, which is also known as Kuttangalam Samaram, that happened in 1946. Okay, so the correct chronological order is 3, 1, 4, 2, which is in option C. And the 96th question, the prolific writer who translated Shakespeare's Hamlet into Malayalam is option A, Kodungalur Kunnikutan Tamburan. Kodungalur Kunnikutan Tamburan. Okay. And the 97th question, the Renaissance leader who is known as Balaguru. Okay. The answer is option D, Vagbadananda. Vagbadananda is known as Balaguru in his childhood ages. And 98th question, the Christian missionary who is recognized as the father of Malayalam printing technology. The answer is option B, Benjamin Bailey. Benjamin Bailey. And the 99th question, the social reformer who gave the message, whatever be one's religion, it is enough if the individual becomes good, exhorting everyone to work for the establishment of a classless and casteless society, which means Madam Edayalum Manishan Nannayal Madi. So that's said by, message said by Sri Narayana Guru. Okay, C, option C, Sri Narayana Guru. And the last question, the woman leader who participated in the Palyam Satyagraha and led the Brahmin woman, option D, Arya Pallam. Option D, Arya Pallam is the answer. Okay.
Yeah. So I think 84th question, they need to be challenged, right? Because 84,
Yes.
they don't have
84th question
option.
has no correct option there.
So in the general part, I think, guys, students, 84th questions you can challenge. Okay. So that's it. I think the exam part, as you have, the students, what we have discussed from them, they have told that it is actually, the options were confusing. Maybe like it will be like that, because it's a competitive exam. But as you have written, you have studied a lot, you have written an exam. Hope for the best. Just let the result come. That's what we can do now. Yeah, fine. So just now we are going to end the session. Bye, everyone. Thank you and good night.